So the first thing that we need to do is go to the Zorin website, choose the version that you want. In my case, I'm going to use Zorin Lite Edition, download the ISO, and then we're going to need to create the USB live stick. Place a stick into a computer. It doesn't have to be the same computer. You could use another computer if the one that you're trying to install this on doesn't currently have an operating system on it to do so. And you're going to need to use an application like Rufus if you're on Windows, or Balena Etcher if you are on Mac OS or another Linux computer. I'm going to use Rufus for the example here because it has a more complicated interface. So if you can figure out how to do it in Rufus, you can definitely figure out how to do it in Balena Etcher. You need to select the ISO. You need to select the correct drive. That is the USB drive in this case. And all of the default settings should be absolutely fine. Go ahead and click Start. Once it's finally done, this green bar will show you that it is complete. And then you can turn off your computer for the next step, where we will go into the BIOS and select our USB drive as our startup drive. This may sound a little complicated, but trust me, if you follow each step, it won't be too hard. Basically, normally your computer from factory is going to boot to your hard drive, where usually Windows is pre-installed. We need to tell the BIOS, that's the software before you get to the operating system, to, instead of going to Windows, go to our USB drive. And here's how we do that. Here we are with the USB boot disk, which we're now going to plug in the computer and press the power button. And I believe on this computer, it's the delete key. Yep, that gets us to the BIOS. And then we're going to go over down to boot to the first option here. We're going to change it to verbatim, the USB drive. And then we're going to save and exit. Yes. And now it's going to reboot from our USB drive live boot environment. MSI logo, here we go. So now we have some options on screen. Try install ZorinOS, try and install modern NVIDIA drivers, and the UE5 firmware, that's where we just were. Now I do have NVIDIA, so I'm going to choose this option. As you can see, this computer has an NVIDIA graphics card. Now we can see the Zorin logo. And it's doing a bunch of checking to make sure everything's okay on our bootcd environment. And it's going through that percentage there, which will probably speed up in post here, so as not to waste the audience's time. Okay, it finished. It said no errors, so now it's loading the NVIDIA drivers, and it says this may take several minutes, so I'm just going to pause my recording. Okay, and now we have got into the live boot environment, which I can just minimize this here. Oh, I have the two options rather. I can try or install. I'm just going to click try for a second, just so you can see a little bit of the environment at play. So here it is, very Windows-like. You know, basically start menu button here, very reminiscent. Windows 10, we have different categories, accessories, graphics, internet, office. Office has already got the LibreOffice, which is compatible with Microsoft Office install. We've got sound and video, got a sound recorder, videos, system tools right here, disks, boot repair. I got NVIDIA server settings, parental controls, and graphics. We have image viewer and LibreOffice Draw. Accessories has clocks, files, text editor. So we've got a bunch of things, utilities. Out of the box, we got some quick links to locations here, so you can see what our file system looks like here. Obviously, there's not really anything in it right now. Yeah, And right down here, I believe it's here, is it? Nope. This is how you go to your virtual desktops, though. So you could have more than one desktop going. And where is it? Oh, yeah, right in here. Nope. Here. We can actually literally put it in dark mode. And this one actually changes the wallpaper too. So that's pretty cool. Now we'll just go back here to install Zorin. So while that's coming up, we can see we've got Brave browser here, our files, our software store, all ready to go. Okay, so we're set on English. I'm gonna hit continue. Got a US keyboard configuration. I connect it to the Wi-Fi. I'm going to skip this part for the video purposes. Okay, now that that's connected, we're going to hit continue. Now, download updates while installing Zorin. Yep, that's going to save time. And install third-party software and graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. Absolutely, why would we not? And I can double check don't participate in the census for ZorinOS to let people know how many people installed it. I would like them to know. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue. So I'm going to delete that. Now it's preparing the Ubuntu drivers under the hood that this is layered on top of. Okay, unmount partitions that are in use. Sure. Okay, now this is a pretty important part. So we have, this computer currently has a boot manager, Windows Boot Manager, and Ubuntu that I previously installed in here. What would you like to do? Erase Ubuntu and reinstall, erase disk and reinstall, or do something else? So we have choices here. We can erase a disk here. Now we could just erase Ubuntu, but I actually kind of want to go in here and go to erase disk so that we get rid of all the unnecessary, just everything on that disk, all the unnecessary sort of like partitions that Ubuntu has put in there. Okay, so we have a few options here, so we have to be very careful. This one I happen to know my 512 gigabytes is Windows. This is an entirely separate drive, the 256 that Ubuntu is on, and this 1 terabyte is this external drive right here. So I have to really make sure we get a 256. Okay, so now we're going to say install now. It says that 2 partitions are going to be deleted, which is good. That's what I want. Everything from Ubuntu. Okay, and now we can choose location, or rather the time zone that we're in, not necessarily the location. Then we put in our name and a password, and this is a really nice option. I like is log in automatically. I know that's a little less secure. I'm not too worried about people hacking into this particular setup. Maybe in a corporate setting, you wouldn't want that though. So I'm just going to fill this in. Now that everything has been installed, it will ask you to restart your system. Upon restart, it is going to ask you to remove the boot media, that's that USB stick that we made, and hit enter. This is nice because on every Linux install of every distro, you need to do the same very thing and remove that boot media, but not all of them will actually tell you to do this. So it's nice that it does that. And there you have it. We've now booted up into ZorinOS for you to enjoy and explore.